It feels a bit weird starting a first video, as it feels as if I'm casting it off into the void that is YouTube, but I have to start somewhere, I suppose. What I wanted to talk about in this video, as it is titled, is just a few problems I've been facing more recently with art, whether it's art as a whole or my particular struggles that I'm coming across more lately. And the first of which is heavily hinged on the use of reference in art. And I'm not sure where to start with it, but I guess I can go back to 2018, where I believe I got the idea or tip from somewhere, I'm not too sure, to begin using reference. And before then, I hadn't used reference too much. I kind of just drew whatever I felt like drawing at that moment. And I began actually intentionally seeking out reference with the end goal to, quote, get better at drawing. So I did that. I began using Pinterest or just looking online for images I think are cool and drawing from them with the intent to learn. But unfortunately, it became a habit, and I didn't realize it was a habit in doing this. I just thought I was getting better at art, and I will admit I was getting better. I was growing in technical skill, but I more recently realized that I improved the most in exactly the thing I started doing. It was drawing from reference, where I grew the most skill. And it may not sound like a bad thing at first, but this became a problem. And I realized this is a problem because getting good at drawing from reference means you're not going to be as good once the reference is taken away. And this is where my art crisis started, if you want to call it that. It felt like all this time was in vain. All the time I constantly drew from reference, quite meticulously, might I add, down to the detail. And I got really good at copying photographs, but not once did I also invest time into training my ability to draw without a reference. And I feel like I've tricked myself into thinking I'm better than I actually am, because I'd look back at my art that was heavily referenced, and I know it exemplifies pretty solid technical skill, but I only felt partially happy about the product because I knew it wasn't fully original. I didn't come up with that idea, and it wasn't even a study. I just found the image and just redrew it for the sake of redrawing it. I began to realize that I was using reference not as something to be referred to, as its name suggests, but rather a crutch or a handicap. And that's not something you want to do with reference. It's important to not only find good references and use them in your art as needed, but it's also important to practice the very separate skill of constructing from imagination. And I didn't know this. I guess back in 2018 when I began using reference intensely, I thought that would be the act that trained me to get better at drawing my own ideas, but the real problem that ended up happening was, I guess subconsciously I knew, oh, I just find a reference to fulfill my needs. And I'd never once think of anything original. It was to the point where I was devoid of all creativity, all originality. I had none of it. I call myself uncreative, ironically enough, being an artist, because my brain just couldn't think of anything remotely original. And it's because of that handicap I mentioned. And it's not to say, this is not all to say that using reference is bad and that the end goal should be to avoid reference. When it's really the opposite case, it's just dependent on how you approach using reference. If you do what I did and don't use reference as an aid to your idea or something to build off of, or merely a suggestion, which is the more preferred way to use reference, and instead just copy it verbatim, you're not going to grow in your ability to construct anything original. It's like, if you use it the way I did, it can become like a step-by-step guide. Like, here, draw this, draw that, exactly copy it one for one. It can hold your hand, and if you take it away, you'll feel lost. And that's exactly how I felt. But I didn't sit there and feel remorseful about how all this time has been wasted for too long, thankfully. And I began realizing that I'm going to just have to start approaching reference differently and practice the separate skill of drawing from imagination, constructing form from imagination, and sort of breaking my heavy dependence on reference. And I felt it wouldn't be possible for a while because of all the time I spent copying things one for one. But I've been realizing that if I use the reference as a suggestion, or maybe use one or two references and combine different aspects of them and take artistic liberties with things and stylizing the reference, it begins to feel more original, more like something I created and not just something I copied. One thought that would constantly come into my mind as I look at the art that others would produce online is whether or not they referenced this seemingly original piece, or how heavily they referenced if they did. You seem to get the impression that they didn't reference unless they specify otherwise, and that everything that all of these artists produce is entirely original. And the reality is you don't know that, and they more than likely referenced a lot heavier than you'd expect. And even in the events where the artist didn't use any reference and they drew something from imagination, or maybe they recorded themselves drawing into a sketchbook with seemingly no reference, they could either A, have reference off to the side that you can't see, or B, they're just showing a showcase of their mileage, which comes from the thousands of times they have drawn from reference and made a conscious effort to understand what happens in those references and reconstruct it from imagination. And that's definitely a thing that I haven't been doing these past 3 years. But in even just a month of recently practicing doing that, I have began to see some satisfactory results. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I see that it's not just drawing from reference that you have to do, but also coupled with drawing from reference, you have to apply what you learn and actually go into drawing from a reference to learn. I feel like we have to come up with another word besides reference in certain events. You can call it studying if your intent is to study. But a lot of times, artists who are using reference are using it to aid in their existing idea. For example, they'd find pictures of, I don't know, a certain type of clothing, if it's something that they haven't built a visual library for. And they use that as like a stepping stone to assist in the development. Whereas I feel like I'm abusing the reference by just copying it instead of using it to inform my idea. So that's the thing that I have been practicing more. Use it as a stepping stone. Use it as something that's just a suggestion. And it's not law. The reference is not law. And I feel thinking about it differently like that, I'm beginning to see progress in my art. And I don't feel so terrible about having quote unquote wasted all of that time drawing strictly from reference, because it wasn't wasted time now that I really think about it. I learned a lot from doing that. I learned simplifying forms into simple shapes. I got better at line control, stroke confidence, brush economy. I just got better at so many things, like rendering as well. So it wasn't wasted time. I grew a lot of technical skills. But now it's time to actually apply those skills to something greater than just copying a picture. And maybe in the future, not maybe, definitely in the future, be able to explore my own ideas. And, you know, the craziest thing started happening once I approached the use of reference differently. Is I can close my eyes and actually imagine things. Like, this is, I feel like most of us did this already, like as children drawing. We weren't scrambling for reference on how to fulfill our idea. We just had an idea, and although we probably poorly executed, we got something on the paper, and we were fine with it. And somewhere along the road, I feel like I've lost that mentality, and a lot of people do. And you really shouldn't lose that. You should be able to have an idea and just put it on paper. Not perfectly, but at least get it out without relying on, or without having to use a reference as a handicap in the event that you don't have an idea. So yeah, that's my rambling for today. Oh yeah, I have one more thing. Is speed. I will touch on this quickly. I draw very slow. I'm a very, very slow artist. And I often compare myself to other artists and look at them and say, wow, this took them only 3 hours, this big masterful painting. And here I am only in a sketch, like 2-3 hours in already. And the answer is pretty, the solution rather is pretty simple to this problem. It's mileage. You gotta draw a lot. And to think that as much as I enjoy drawing, that I'm not doing it for hours a day. I'm not investing a lot of time into it, or as much time as I thought I was. That's really the reason I draw so slowly, and I'm only recently realizing that. So what I'm going to start practicing, and what I have been practicing this past month or so, is just getting mileage and drawing as much as I possibly can with the time I have. And it's through mileage that you get faster, you learn shortcuts, and You learn ways to simplify things further. You learn what little details are unnecessary to get the picture to read. And your time drops. It drops and drops the more you do it. And that's really the reason why a lot of these artists can create work that seems so fast. They're thoughtful with their strokes, and the only way to develop that thoughtfulness is through consistent practice. It's the thing that people don't like hearing, but it really is the way to get where you want to be in art. But that's about all I have to say for now. In terms of this channel, I know it's pretty empty right now, but hopefully I'm able to use it as a way to document my areas of struggle and areas of growth, and hopefully help some people out with it along the way. This is the longest I've talked to myself into a microphone, but hopefully it was of value to someone who even dared to listen to all of it. And yeah, not sure how to end the video yet, but I'll figure that out someday. But yes, thank you for listening if you did, and I will see you in a future video.